So I am going to start off this episode a little bit differently in that I want to get to your comments right out of the gate, because this episode has the possibility to be just a tad bit divisive yet again. That said, it's not a one-by-one breakdown of the comments section this time like I have been doing as of late. Instead, we are going to address the numerous comments which are calling out my drafting ability, perhaps rightfully so, but I will argue that I deserve a tad bit of leeway. Just a little bit, don't you think? Have I not earned that? Not to make the hockey comparison on a football game, but don't lump me in with Peter Chiarelli at this point. I deserve a little bit of credit. Just a bit. Just a bit. Right? Maybe not, judging by the comments at this point. In the Buffalo series, we drafted incredibly well. In the lost draft of this series, the very first episode, technically it was episode 2, we drafted very well. Have the last 2 drafts since the restart gone relatively poorly in the majority of aspects? Yes, they have, but we have time to dig ourselves out of this mess. We're gonna be okay. We're going to make it through this. I promise you. And that begins in this episode. Hopefully. If not, it begins in the next one, at the next draft. I want to get right down to this, though. Like I said, I didn't want to touch up upon any comments in particular because, let's be honest, they were all kind of lumped in. There were 2 things. Number 1, oh, you suck at drafting. And number 2, you need offensive line help. Which is true, but there is also the fact of the poll, and some of the comments had to touch up upon this subject as well. There happens to be a certain guy here who looks like, I'm not going to say a generational talent, but if you want to talk about the 1-2 punch that we can have at corner with Cole and with Meyer, our defense is shaping up to be pretty damn good. The winner of the poll was Darian Meyer. He is going to be the number 1 pick. And yes, the goal throughout the rest of the draft is to get that offensive line help that we desperately need. Am I saying that we're going to take 6 other O-linemen? No, it does depend on who's available at the time. I mean, obviously, if a first-round talent on the defensive line falls, who never should have fallen, we're going to take him in the second round. But to start off, Darian Meyer is the pick, no doubt about it, and I'll take that. The number 1 overall, the number 1 in true talent in this draft, 83 overall. Quick development, so that's a tad bit disappointing that he's not star or superstar, but he is just an absolute beast. He really is. Again, 6'2", wheels like that, 92 jumping. Hell, we could move him to safety if we really wanted to. He's a monster. He's an absolute monster, and I don't think you guys made the wrong decision in voting for him to be the number 1 pick. Fingers crossed that some strong help has fallen to us. Oscar October, what a name. Fingers crossed that some strong talent has fallen to us with this next pick. Indeed, they have. If we were looking at running backs, we're not. Jason Chase is also there. Thomas Elgin is one of those guys that we talked about in that, my God, it would be amazing if he happened to fall to us in the second round. He has, but I don't think we can exactly prioritize him. Or Marquis Spanos, who also looks great. We do have a running back, even if he's not looking that good at this point, and his development might have been a tad bit stunted. We do have to look elsewhere. Again, I'm still going to look at everybody, but more than likely, we will take offensive line help. Jamius Mack is actually looking okay, but it's worth checking. At the very least, I am taking him off the list. It is worth checking at the very least to see if there is anybody who is, a can't-miss guy at this stage of the draft. And really, as we continue onward. In terms of offensive line help, we do have Carter Schlueter. Who, honestly, good God, is looking like a bit of a monster and might be the pick. Right guard, we have Manny Lowry, who's looking questionable. And at right tackle, so no doubt the best player left in this draft is Carter Schlueter in terms of offensive line help. Unfortunately, quite a few of those guys that were there are off the board already. Is there a surefire, cannot miss talent that can convince me not to take Schlueter? TJ Becker is there. He's not it. Unfortunately for him, maybe fortunately for him, he'll go to a team that's actually set up a little bit better. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt here in the second round, we take Carter Schlueter out of Colorado. He is a 77 star. Hello. 34th in true talent. We get him at 33. That is promising. 22 years old as well, so he has time to develop. We have ourselves, hopefully, a future Pro Bowler at left tackle. Carter Schlueter. Welcome aboard. And so far, we've done okay. Imagine that. Now is where it gets tough, of course, in these later rounds. Of course, we are still going to be prioritizing the offensive line, but we have to see who else is available. The fact that Jason Chase has fallen is frustrating. Not that we need him, but it's just kind of crazy. Jamius Mack and Watts Burdine are still there. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to get a little bit more help. Here's the thing about Mack. He is rapid. Decent vert jump for someone 6'1". The agility is a bit rough. Pretty good hands, decent route runner. Jamius Mack might be the guy to take here. Burdine is well-rounded, but I don't know, man. Jamius Mack might be the guy to take. Noah Markham as well. Fairly well-rounded, really good hands. If we could get Mack and Markham, our wide receiver core would be looking okay with Farrell and Jenkins there as well. It's just an idea to throw out there. Ross Swain, I don't think... By the way, there is a tight end named Ray Rice. Let's take a look here. Jackson Asper out of UMaine. Probably not going to have anything crazy in terms of development traits, but still would be a decent option who should be available later on. John Hass, also really strong on the bench press. Manny Lowry, still there, who I'm not sold on at all. Just flat out, no thank you. In the third round, though, there is Derek Watson out of Florida A&M. He's an agile type, but he's not agile and has a better bench press. Figure that one out. Joseph Blackburn as well, who's, I mean, at least he's more agile as opposed to the other one. And then two Daniel Blackburns? Joseph Blackburn and Daniel Blackburn, Curtis Reed, Mitchell Meadows, not Michael Meadows. There are a couple of options. Obviously, someone like Asper is looking pretty strong, but this might be the round to take a non-O lineman, get some help elsewhere. Normando Chekwa, great name. Not sure if he's a great talent. Decently strong, decently agile, though, is the 23-year-old. Walker Gordon out of BC. The reps, bench press reps kind of bugged me a little bit. Venneton Humphrey at tackle, 21 years old, good strength. I would potentially prefer to take him over Chekwa, just for the fact that he's younger. Chekwa is more well-rounded, but Humphrey being 21 could give him a little bit more time to develop. Grant Marciano at left outside linebacker. Of course, we've drafted two linebackers, Brooks and King, so far for the team. And admittedly, the 40 time leaves a little bit to be desired. Everything else is looking pretty damn good. There's also Rashawn French, third-round talents. Not looking bad either, so a couple of decent linebackers. Harmon Cisse, would that be? Not looking bad either. 23, though. It's the one downside for him. So we have two defensive linemen that are looking interesting, a couple of linebackers that are looking interesting, and one wide receiver in Jamius Mack that's really looking interesting. So I think it comes down to Chekwa or the wide receiver. We have not drafted, we've only drafted one member on the defensive line. That was Walls, and he was a swing and a miss from the draft stories where people are like, oh my God, pay attention. So we pay attention, and he's a complete swing and miss. I'm going to go with my gut on this one. I'm going to take Mack. The hands, the speed, the height. I'm taking Jamius Mack. And, man, I cannot catch a break right now. He's decent. But obviously for a 23-year-old, you have to hope for a little bit better overall than that. He's not bad. I mean, the only really poor stat there would be deep route, release, spectacular catch. Like, he's not horrific, but he is a 75. So I might live to regret that one. There wasn't a can't-miss offensive lineman there. It came down, and of course, then a 77 gets drafted. There wasn't a can't-miss offensive lineman at that point, so I don't totally regret it. Unfortunately, the lineman I was looking at is gone, because of course he went off the board early. Oh boy, of course someone went off the board. Damn. Alright, well. In terms of offensive line help, Harmon Bibbs, listed as a pass protector. I don't believe you with that agility. I don't like those inconsistencies. I'm just going to take you off the list. Robert Slaughter, power option, not with 29 reps. I don't think so. You're off the list. At center, Zach Burson, power option, 31 bench press reps. I'll take that. Quinn Kropog, also fairly well-rounded. I actually trust that you're half-decent. Chandler Levsick, I also trust that you're half-decent. Derek Watson, agile, but again, better on the bench press. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't trust it. I just don't trust it. I don't know what to tell you. Joseph Blackburn, again, agile, but man, those reps are really low. I don't trust that. BJ Mallet, perhaps. I don't really trust you either. I gotta be honest. I'm not liking those inconsistencies between, I'm a power offensive lineman, and no, you're much more agile. It doesn't make sense. Daniel Blackburn, I don't trust you either. At all, really. Curtis Reed, you're just not good. Mitch Meadows, you're not good. And Bronson O'Neill, no thank you. Right, so we have very few options left on that O-line. Humphrey is still available. Humphrey was still available. It's the 4th round. I gotta go for the offensive line, just to get people there who can at least play the role. So, in terms of who I preferred here on the O-line, both are 23, so that doesn't help, but it is Kropog and Levsick. I don't think either are going to be amazing. It's just at least be mid-70s and useful to us that we're hoping for. So let's go for probably Quinn Kropog. Granted, Zach Burson's 22. Do we go for Zach Burson just because he's a year younger? I like the more well-rounded nature of the other two, though. I'm gonna potentially trust my gut on this one. Again, the agility, the power. I'm gonna go for Quinn Kropog on this. He's a 74, which is fine by me. He is at least a better option than what we have and will provide some stability on the O-line, so that's decent. The argument of could we have had someone better if I didn't go for that wide out with ridiculous speed. That'll, of course, be there. And, yeah, more than likely that'll be the correct answer, is that we could have had somebody better. But that's not the way it went down. And, again, people keep going off the board. It's so frustrating. Oh, my God. Now there's, like, nobody left. I'm sorry, but maybe they've changed something. But, man, in that Bills series, the AI did not go off the board this consistently. Like, they are going off the board to a crazy extent. Carlos Walters, I don't care how good your hands are. I mean, Jesus, those numbers are absolutely brutal. Case and Stokes, same thing. I don't care how good your hands are. You can't move your feet. DJ Robinson, good vert jump at 6'5", but it's going to be probably a no from me. Willis Porter, I don't even know, man. Let's just check the O-line. Check the O-line. So, not digging what I'm seeing there from Jamal Grigsby, obviously. Rashawn Price, 21, decent bench press. Not great, but decent. Noah Anderson, probably also worth picking up. Gordon Sparks, no. Dexter Short, I mean, he's an extra option. So it comes down to Anderson and Price. Price was 21, so I think we'll go for him, even though his combine grades are pretty bad. But yeah, let's go for Price on this one. just to try and fill out this offensive line. As I hit the wrong button there, but that's fine. Rashawn Price is a 70. A little bit lower of an overall than what I was hoping for. Again, it's not a complete negative in that we are at least getting offensive linemen who aren't in the 50s and 60s. So we're improving in that way. Still hurts a little bit though. Noah Anderson's still on the board. And then we have a random-ass tight end. So we'll take Noah Anderson. He is a 72 at 23 years old. So we have that going for us. We have one more pick in this draft. I have no idea who the hell it's going to be, obviously, because there really isn't anybody left on the board for us that we are aware of. Yeah, so nobody. Cool. So, we don't need a quarterback. We don't need a running back. Fullback, we could take a random risk on someone like Graham Weaver. That might not be the worst idea, to be honest. We have not drafted a fullback. So, you know, Graham Weaver, you might get the shout here, potentially. Wide receiver, obviously just not going to bother risking it. Just no thank you. Tight end-wise, we're not going to risk it. On the O-line, Rashard Dixon, I mean, is there anybody who has a decent, like, just no. Like, let's be honest. The answer is no. Left guard, Jared Glover. Power option, but he's more agile. That it's just what are you even doing? What are you even doing? Tyrone Ruff. I mean, the bench press wasn't horrible. Eduardo Street, let's be honest, you're going to be terrible. There has to be somebody here worth taking, right? Anybody? Who do we just randomly take here in this part of the draft? Not Henderson. Not Felix Grant. What about this defensive attack? No. Well, in fairness, yeah, you're a power rusher, but you're more agile. It doesn't make sense. Mack McDonald, great name. Might just be the fullback, just to get that position out of the way. Because anything else here, let's be honest, long-term solution, no. I'm going to take Graham Weaver out of Tennessee. He's a 70. That's good enough for me. He can at least fill in the role at fullback, and we won't have to worry about that anytime soon. So overall, we accomplished what we needed to in terms of bringing in offensive line help. The big debate, of course, will be the swing and a miss with Jamius Mack if there was an offensive lineman who was a little bit better. But getting Carter Schlueter and Darion Meyer, easy for me to say, quite helpful. So again, we bring in 4 members of the offensive line, so not the full 5 that people were hoping for. But it's a start, at the very least. Let's see who we passed up on, shall we? So Glenn Douglas was star development at 22. Raymond Cota was normal development at 24, so we dodged that bullet. Quadarius Jeffries, quick development at 21. Are you regretting your decision to vote for Meyer? If you did. James Martinez, 23 quick development, not amazing. DeAndre Genther, star development at 24. Went to Pitt, so that worked out well for him. Shamir Hutchins, a 78 star development at 22. Cecil Hopkins, 81 quick development at 21. And then a quarterback like Houston Heineke, 78, 21 in star. Curry Potter, quick development at 81, 24 years old though. Is there anybody else? Antoine Graves was the other corner. He ended up being not as great. Evan Stammer, quick development at 21, 79 overall. Pierce Edebali, quick development. We didn't, of course, end up taking him. Lester Smart was the other member of the offensive line, 22 years old, and a 77. Anthony Bailey as well was a 74. So we have that going for us. P.L. Palmer, 80 star. Jesus. More of a blocking tight end, but still. Ethan Kretzel was there, so let me know. You can at least see the teams that these players went to. I suppose the big thing here, I want to see how good Spanos was. Superstar! Okay, we still got who we needed, though, so it's fine. Thomas Elgin was quick. Right. Who else was here that we were potentially considering? I'm not entirely sure at this point. I don't know how to feel about this last draft, I feel more confident about it, but obviously the one pick that stands out is kind of the swing and a miss of Jamius Mack. Jackson Asper. Fuck. In fairness to me, was he not projected for the 4th round? Am I losing my mind? Is it just Tired 24 screwing it up? He was projected in the 4th round, was he not? And he goes 3rd pick of the 3rd round. But obviously, that's what we needed, and that's what I should have taken. You can't blame me for being a little bit tantalized by the speed of Jamius Mack and knowing that we only had 2 wideouts drafted. But yeah, that could have gone a tad bit better. Chekwa would have been a swing and a miss too. There's no doubt. It just should have been take the offensive lineman, get everything sorted out, and we could have been okay. And at least we would have had the 5. I had to go for Gloria with that wideout. He looked good, okay? He looked fine. Didn't happen, though. As far as anybody else is concerned, I mean, I feel fairly confident with who else we got. Manny Lowry, how good were you? Yeah, he wasn't actually that bad. A little bit better than I thought he was going to be. Burson was normal development at a 74, so an interesting draft overall. Again, just to recap, we end up taking Meyer as the 1st overall pick. Will we have another 1st overall pick this year? Let's be honest. Yes. Yes, we will. We take the risk with Mack after taking Schlueter in the 2nd round. We get Kropog and Anderson in the middle rounds there. If I could spell Kropog, that would be great. We also get Price, so 2 left tackles, not as if that matters. We can move people around and will as we see fit, and we also pick up a fullback just to get that out of the way after not having anybody else available. So overall, feel like we're back on track, but we've yet to have that one draft where it's like, holy hell, we knocked it out of the park, we're golden. We have certainly yet to have that. Give me a moment to set up this team. We need to fill out the roster with some free agents. I'll be back in a second. I don't know if Mr. Nagy knows exactly what he's signed up for. This is the squad for this season. 60 overall with a 59 rated offense and a 63 rated defense. The offensive line consists solely of players outside of officer, so we at least have a strong C rating across the board. We still do not have a single tight end drafted. The wide receiver core consisting of C's. We still have Hughes at running back. On the defensive side of things, somewhere else where we probably need to focus sooner rather than later, we need that linebacker help and we need that defensive line help because we do have Walls, but again, he's terrible and was one of the biggest swings and misses that I have ever selected in a game, period. So that is the team for this year. Are we basically guaranteed a number 1 overall pick yet again? Yes. Yes, we are. So I shit you not, we're 2-0 on the season. We're 2-0 on the year, 66 points through 2 games, which is the 3rd highest amount in the league. I don't understand it. I believe we beat Seattle in week 1, and we just snuck past the Vikings. Let me double check here, as of course I hit the wrong one. I'm pretty sure it was Seattle in week 1. It was 28-20, and then a 38-35 win over Minnesota. This could be a very interesting year. And of course, for weekly award, it was Mr. McCormick with over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. So yeah, maybe we'll stay alive for the moment. I haven't seen who this injury is. It is Frank King for 5 weeks. That sucks, and that is a major blow to our defense as, man, I don't know if it's menu lag or if I'm just losing my mind here. What is going on? Scout college players, please. We'll see what this is looking like towards the top of the board. Of course, we're going to be starting off in terms of scouting wide receivers. That's where our scout already is at the moment. Greg Amuten could be pretty damn good. And again, keep in mind, we also have the extra scouting points this year for the very first time. So that is going to be a major factor for our success this season. Let's advance week. If we beat Jacksonville, we'll stay alive. Otherwise, I'll talk to you in a moment. We lose 29-26. We'll take a look at the player upgrade, though. It is Tanner Carew, the tight end, who does not matter. So I'll talk to you again in a moment, but a very interesting start to the season. I said just moments ago that I thought we were guaranteed to have a number 1 overall selection. As it turns out, we are not. I don't know exactly where we finished the season in terms of the overall standings, but I can only assume at 5-11 that we are very much not guaranteed a number 1 pick. We started off the year on a hot note, beating Seattle, beating Minnesota, and beating the New York Giants before things finally came crashing back down, until we won 2 out of our final 3 games, including beating San Francisco, which picking up a win, or at least a draw against the Niners, has become tradition, and we beat Seattle again. So 5 wins for us on the season. Playoff-wise, in the wild card, you have Cincy and New England, Philadelphia, LA, Kansas City and Cleveland, Seattle and Green Bay. So Seattle still made the playoffs despite losing to us twice. You would have seen they finished at 11-5. Let's take a look, because again, I don't know exactly where we are, and we'll make it dramatic. We will scroll down. We know we're in the bottom 20. We are below 25th, 27th. We finished 27th in the league. Number 1 overall pick is gone, which, to be honest, is a tad bit devastating to our goals here. We'll take a look at the awards. Of course, Meyer was the NFC Defensive Player of the Week in Week 17. Let's take a look at the awards, everything with the season before getting to the draft. But again, unlike last time, and really every draft we've done thus far, it's not like, oh, we got to take whoever's number 1. Like, no, it's we simmed that 7th pick or whatever it is. Like, yeah, we finished, 27th? So we sim up to that pick, and then we see who's still available. NFL MVP is Deshaun Watson. Coach of the Year, Bill O'Brien. Again, with the AFC awards, we're just going to quickly scroll through. You can take a look on your own time if you care to know. The NFC is where we will actually track it. So there's a lot to get to. I'm going to try to get to everything here as quickly as possible. So Matt Ryan was Offensive Player of the Year. Nobody from our team. Defensive Player of the Year. Again, nobody from our squad. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Mack finished 2nd. So if that helps your opinion at all, at least he finished 2nd. Graham Weaver, our fullback, was 8th. Defensive Rookie of the Year. In fairness, Darian Mayer missed 3 weeks of the season due to injury. So I'm not all that surprised. Best quarterback, nobody there. Best running back, Hughes. He finished 10th. He's still an 80, but he finished in 10th. Mack was the 2nd rated wide receiver behind Randall Cobb. I feel like I'm a little bit vindicated. We could have used the offensive line help, but Mack had a strong season at the very least. So that pick isn't looking as bad as it once did. So we have that going for us, I would say. Unfortunately, nobody up there in terms of defensive backs. Best kicker, nobody there either. Huh, interesting how those awards play out. So we'll take a look here at these player upgrades. Mack is potentially going up to a 76. He does have 2 points. We'll just make him better as a slot receiver. In fairness, that injury is new. So he gets injured in Week 17. So I wouldn't expect it to affect him too much. But he is up to a 77 overall. So good stuff there. Quick development at 24. That's not bad. Joey McCormick, who's gone up to an 85, is potentially going to go up to an 86. He goes up to an 87. Joey McCormick, again, the arguments of whether or not we needed a quarterback at that time, Joey McCormick's our guy, no doubt. And Hughes has a chance to go up to an 81. We'll make him better as an elusive back. He does go up an overall point, which is nice, but we'll make him better as an elusive back, and that helps. And then Emmanuel Smith is just a rando that we filled out the roster with. So let's take a look. New injury, I guarantee that's who it is. It's got to be. Yeah, there's Mack, and Steven Jenkins also picked up an injury. So, unfortunate injury bug at the end of the season. In terms of re-signing the staff, we're good to go. So let's take a look at the year that was stat-wise. We'll start off with the team stats, where we were in terms of total yards gained. 5th fewest in the league. Total offensive yards, we were a little bit higher up there. What's that? 6th fewest in the league. Passing yards over 4,000, so not terrible. Mid-table. Rushing yards, 3rd fewest in the league. We averaged 19 points a game, which was the 5th lowest in the league. 20 passing touchdowns, 17 rushing touchdowns. Defensively, we absolutely still allowed the most yards, which is not surprising to anybody. And that is what this team is shaping up to look like right now. We need help defensively. We still need some online help, of course, but we need help defensively. Joey McCormick, over 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 picks, a pretty damn good season for the second-year pro. Rushing-wise, if we can find a running back better than Hughes, that would be nice, but he didn't do that badly. 862 yards and 9 rushing touchdowns on the season. He can at least fill the role for us right now. Receiving-wise, Mack, I mean, I feel a bit vindicated in that, yeah, it was a stretch, but he at least had a good year. 92 receptions on the season, over 1,200 yards with 8 touchdowns. He did phenomenally well. Marcus Farrell, Farrell probably, 64 receptions, 800 yards, 5 touchdowns. Tanner Carew isn't ours. Steven Jenkins is 35 receptions, 387 yards on the season. Hughes with a receiving touchdown as well. Graham Weaver with a touchdown on the season. Blocking-wise, this is going to be rough. Carter Schlueter. Oh, God. Schlueter. 24 sacks allowed on the season. Defensively, Antoine McIntosh led the way for players that are actually ours. Le'Veon Cole was up there as well. Griffith, in terms of sacks, the leader on the team was Demetrios Brooks, 6 on the season. Interceptions-wise, it was Meyer with 3. You also had Cedric McGee, who fills out the roster. Kicking-wise, Rasmussen, 17 of 22. Bruce Tuten, only 3,000 yards this year, not 4,000. So we got that going for us. And then, of course, I still feel like kick return stats are fairly bugged. So that pretty much does it for this season. So again, in terms of the offensive line, we brought in some help with Price, Anderson, Kropog, and Schlueter. We will still look to bring in a couple of O-linemen, probably 2, maybe 3. One more wide receiver would be nice, hopefully a big-time wide receiver. A running back, if we can find him. Finding a tight end, just anybody at tight end would be great, maybe even taking 2 guys there. Defensively, of course, at corner, the 1-2 punch is solid. We're still going to need a 3rd corner option sometime soon. But defensive line help, middle linebacker, potentially safety as well. We still have things to fill out with this roster, no doubt about it. So let's go ahead and move on. We have a little bit to do. Of course, we got to get to the end of the year. We'll take a look at the Pro Bowl, the free agent signings, and all of that, and we'll get you guys a look at the players that will be available to us in this draft. As I almost said St. Louis, it's the Rams, and I didn't even see actually who the other team was. I saw the Rams. That was it. In terms of any Pro Bowlers, Mack makes it as the 2nd option at wideout. Amazing season for the rookie. Edibale made it at left guard, of course not ours, but someone else as a rookie who makes the Pro Bowl. And I imagine that is our only shout at having a representative, and indeed that is the case. So, not bad for a questionable pick. It's the Rams and Texans, by the way. Not bad for a questionable pick in the 3rd round to make the Pro Bowl in his rookie year. As far as where we are scouting right now, or what we've done, again, quarterback, haven't bothered. Running back, I've checked out a couple of options, including Manning here, who might be the best option. Again, just to see if someone falls down the list. I haven't scouted out everything. I was actually going to just go through the 4th round, and that's still what I'm going to do, because we have pretty much scouted out everything else Fullback, there is one dude, not that we need him. Wide receiver-wise is taken care of. Tight end, we've scouted out completely. We've scouted out everything for the offensive line. Sorry about that white flash. It bothers the hell out of me, too. Defensive line, Ray Holloway jumped up in terms of the rankings, so we'll take a look at him. Right end, we have scouted out. The defensive line in general, we've scouted out. Still have a couple of players we can look at linebacker-wise. Secondary-wise as well, not that corners are overly needed. So you can kind of see what we got going on here for the final few weeks of scouting. So that's not a good sign at outside linebacker. Let's take a look here at Case Wells, who looks to be half decent. And we'll wrap things up here with these final few points. Your bet for the Super Bowl, I'm going to go for the Rams. They always seem to be dominant early on. And they win it, 35-24. Let's take a look at contract negotiations here. As again, we don't have anybody that we have to worry about, thankfully. So just to double check, we're going to be getting to that point very soon, though, where we do have to start worrying about these guys. And some big money moves. Not as if we don't have the money, though, to re-sign anybody that we need to. The combine stats are in, so we'll take another look here through the full list. Quarterback was glitched there for a second, but that's okay. Anybody jump up in the running back ratings? Apparently not. Anybody jump up in terms of the wide receiver ratings? It's worth double checking at this point in time just to see if someone took that step forward. And it's not looking like that's going to be the case. So that is fine. It just means we're in a pretty damn good spot heading into this draft in terms of the information that we have and knowing what we're looking for. So, feeling pretty good, all things considered. I'm going to take a look at Stanley Dorsey, who is actually better than Daniel Wade. So there you go. Daniel Wade was a swing and a miss. There were quite a few of those guys where it's like, do I really want to take a look at the rest of these players after a big swing and a miss? Worked out a couple of times. Let's take a look at Pashos and Ornstein, perhaps. And from there, kind of a tough call. I think we'll take a look at these corners. Like I said, obviously, in terms of a 1-2 punch at corner, we're fine. But if we can get a half-decent option in this draft to just have that dominant core, we might as well get it out of the way. We're still at that point where, yes, we need to draft the best player available. Obviously, if we can take the best player available and still, round out this roster, that's ideal. But, we'll get there in due time. For right now, I'm still okay with the thought of taking the best player available. Obviously, if it's like a quarterback, we're not going to bother. But you get the point. As we are done scouting corners, if we have any more points to waste, which I believe we have one more batch of scouting, we'll take a look at whatever safeties remain on the board. So let's do it. And then we are good to go. So that's safety. It's mainly going to be these guys here in the 4th round. Let's just spam through the points. None of them are that great, unfortunately. Take a look at the guys here. Perry Murphy and, Buckley. Big swing and a miss there. We got Roberts and Lawrence Perry. Sorry, buddy, even though that zone coverage is looking good. Oh, we don't have enough to scout out the rest of your top 3 attributes. So let's take a look at the free agency recap, and then we are right back into the draft. So let's see, Derwin James is up to a 98. Jesus, J.J. Watt signs in Buffalo. Andrew Luck in Jacksonville. Mike Hilton with the Jets. So there you go, the Bills, the Colts, the Packers with some pretty big name signings. The Jets as well. Sony Michel goes to Miami. I don't know how I feel about that as a Patriots fan. Well, let's do this, and we'll take a look. Number 1 pick goes to the Panthers. Let's go ahead and sim through that. They get an 85 wide receiver. Jesus Christ. The Dolphins at 2 get an 80 left end. The Raiders at 3 take a 79 linebacker. The Colts at 4 get an 81 linebacker, and the Redskins at 5 take a 77 left guard. So that brings us to our selection. Let's take a look at the top talent available in this draft. So again, running back wise for us, there's nobody that we would consider taking here. Manning, if he falls to the 2nd or 3rd round, could be worth it, but obviously, is he the type of guy that we're going to take number 1? No, I don't think he's that surefire slam dunk of a player. Maybe if he was 21, I'd consider it, but he's not that surefire slam dunk of a player who's going to be that much better than who we already have, right? So just to get you a look here at some of these guys, you might say like, oh, take a look at this guy based off of the combine, but again, running back, not a major need for us, but if we can find someone who's better, that's fine. Steets will probably not take it all. Wide receiver-wise, we do have some options here who are projected to go fairly early. So we'll take a look at Julian Gamble. Julian Gamble, he's 6'2", decent speed and agility. Big thing for him, though, he's 6'2", he can jump. He's a good route runner, but we don't know how good the hands are. So at this point, we do have some wide receivers, of course, but we're lacking that true number 1 to go alongside Farrell, Jenkins, and Mack. So maybe one of these guys would be the guy to take, especially if they fall. Brian Holland is 21, pretty damn fast, really good vert jump at 6'2", good hands as well. Could be worth it for sure. And Pershing Simpson, 6'1", rapid, decent jumping, good hands. I don't think you could really go wrong with any of the 3. Are they worth taking with the 6th pick based off of what we need? It's debatable, actually. Like I said, we are lacking a number 1 wideout. Tight end wise, again, I'd love to draft a tight end or 2 in this draft, but you know, I don't think we're going to be taking anybody early on. Call that a hunch. Just a hunch based off of what we're seeing here. I don't think anybody's going to be that great. If you can hear that truck outside, then sorry. Henry Waddy is the top tight end more than likely. Could be a decent guy to pick up. Getting a possession and a blocking tight end would be pretty sweet. On the offensive line, this is the big thing, of course, because we're still looking for help here. 1 or 2 options would be nice. The only guy we'd consider taking in the 1st round is Cedric Holmes, projected as a late 1st rounder. He's 21, strong bench press, decent agility, could be pretty good. At left guard, we have Pierce Ball, who is, I mean, in terms of an agile O-lineman, he lives up to that hype. Decent bench press as well for the 21-year-old. Pierce Ball could be worth taking. There's also Glenn Easy out of Pittsburgh. Late projection, but the 21-year-old has, again, ridiculous strength and pretty damn good agility. You also have some other guys like Offenhussel in the 2nd round. Yeah, at center, Preston Emerson, 23 years old, but my God, in terms of the bench, in terms of agility, he looks great. It's just, do you trust taking the 23-year-old over, say, someone like Pierce Ball or Glenn Easy? That's the debate there. At right guard, nobody projected in the first 2 rounds. And at right tackle, we do have one option, that being Tate Sparks out of Wisconsin. The 22-year-old, strong, agile, could also be worth it. Can we bank on any of these players falling out of the first round? I think with the tendency we've seen for AI players or AI teams to take players a bit earlier than they've been projected, I don't think we can bank on it. So if we want to make sure that we get one of those offensive linemen, we have to take them now. Defensively, though, is where we need help. And in terms of left ends, we're not going to find any help in the first round. Right ends, well, we're not going to find any help in the first round either. So if we bring in help for the defensive line, probably not going to be major game changers, but they will be improvements on who we have already. At defensive tackle, though, we at least have a couple of options with Christie and Vickers. But just to get you a look at the guys who are available later on, like I said, major game changers on the defensive line, not in this draft, unless we go with George Christie, who at 21 could very well be worth it, especially with that bench press record, and Jamarcus Vickers as well, 23. So I think obviously we'd go for Christie with him being the younger option, and he was actually projected to be a first-round talent rather than just being a first-round talent. Linebacker-wise, no help on the left outside portion of it. Middle linebackers, though, we do have 3 options that are all listed as first-round talents. We start off with B.J. Ricks, the 22-year-old, mid-first-round projection, but, I mean, he's so well-rounded. He is so good. pass coverage first and foremost, and you can see why. There's also Ramorius Baldwin, the 22-year-old, again, extremely well-rounded, and Mike Sutton out of SMU. Not as well-rounded, but still decent, strong, fast. I don't think we could go wrong with either, any of them really. And on the right outside portion of the available players, only one guy projected in the first round. That's Nate Osika out of LSU, the 22-year-old, early first-round projection. Fast, agile, not as strong, but could still be worth it. So some really good options at linebacker. Again, right now we have Brooks and King. In the description, I have the depth chart, so take a look at that in case you don't remember exactly what we need at corner. Not that we need somebody now, but these are the options at least. As you can see, there are some decent corners available. Bryant Campbell is not exactly who we'd want to take with this pick, I would say. If he falls to the second or third round, sure. Decently fast, decently agile, decent vert jump for someone 5'11". You also have Ralston Grissom, who, again, crazy vert jump for a 6 foot player. But first round picks for us, not this year. Safety-wise, nobody there. Only one guy projected in the first round. That is Mike Rate out of Clemson, who is pretty damn good. Now, again, at safety right now, we do have Griffith, and we do have McIntosh, who was a big swing and a miss. Is it worth taking Rate? Possibly. So those are the players available in this draft. We end up with the 6th pick after an absolutely crazy year. Who we select is up to you. The poll is in the comments below. It'll be the pinned comment at the top. Make sure you vote again. It is multiple choice, so vote for every player you would like to see me pick. The person who is the most voted upon will be the person we select, and from there, it's up to me to not completely botch it. I feel like this year, this last year, we did pretty well in recovering. Even the one pick that was questionable ended up being pretty damn good. So I'm feeling good. I got my confidence back. You guys were challenging me. We started to recover a little bit. We'll see if we can keep that up. But again, just a ridiculous year to see us win 5 games. Does not make sense whatsoever. But we did it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for supporting this series. Have a good one. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time.